Hey TickHosting users, have you ever needed to manage your server's files, but you couldn't upload or download the file you needed because it was too big? Or you had to mess with multiple files at once and it got too confusing? Well, good news, with TickHosting, you can actually use a process called SFTP, or Secure File Transfer Protocol, to manage your server files through a remote application. And the good news, it's really easy to set up, so I'm going to walk you through that in this video. However, before we begin, we are going to need a couple things first. The first thing we're going to need is you're going to need to be able to log into your server console, which is where I'm at right now. And then the second thing we're going to need is actually our TickHosting account password. And now some of you may already have this, but if you created your account with Google and Discord, you might need to follow in these next steps to actually get your TickHosting account password. If you need to get to your password, what you can do is you can actually log out of your account and reset your password. And if you're doing it for the first time and you created your account with Google or Discord, it'll actually just basically create your password for you. So what we're going to do is we're first going to log out of our account. And we are going to do that by going up to this top right corner here where our account icon is. And we're actually going to hit log out. And once we do that and we get back to this main page, we're going to once again go back up to the top right corner to hit the login button. And then once we do that, we'll be presented with a web page that looks like this. Whenever we're here, what we are looking for is the forgot password, which if we look, it'll actually be right here. What we're going to do is we're going to click on that and it'll take us to one last tab that says recover account. Now, if you created your account using Google or Discord and you need a password for your actual TickHosting account, what you can do is enter your Discord email or your email associated with your Google account and then actually send a reset link to create your password. And then once you get your password, you're ready to begin the process. Once we have our TickHosting account password, we can now actually start to get the application we are going to use to connect to our server. But before we do that, we want to make sure our server is offline. Making sure our server is offline is crucial because if it's online, we can lose files during the transfer or they can get corrupted. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to head over to our server console, which is where I'm at right now, and we're going to make sure our server is offline. If this red stop server button is glowing, that means your server is currently online. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to hit the stop server button to turn off our server. Now that we did that, we can actually get the application we're going to use to connect to our server. What we're going to do is we're going to head up to a new tab and we're going to search for FileZilla or FileZilla. And then we're going to look for the one that has a red background with a white F and Z on the icon. For me, it's this first one right here. You want to make sure that it's actually the right website and not a website trying to trick you. Once you find the right website, you're going to want to click on it, and it should take you to this main homepage. And I know it looks like a lot, but it's really easy on what to do from here. What you're going to look for is you're going to look for the Download FileZilla client button. You want to make sure it's the client download and not the server download. As you can see, there's two buttons right here. One of them says client and one of them says server. As I said before, we're going to get the one that says client. So I'm going to click on this Download FileZilla client button. Once we do that, it'll take us to another download page where it's going to have a green Download FileZilla client button. This download right here is for Windows users. So if you're on another operating system, you may want to look down below to see if your OS is supported. Since I'm on Windows, I can go ahead and hit this Download FileZilla client button here. Now it's going to pop up with a bunch of tabs, and it's going to ask us what client version we want. We want the one that says download and not purchase. So I'm going to go ahead and click this green download button here, and it's going to start the installation for this installer. What we're going to do is we're going to hit open file to run the installer, and it's going to ask if we want to make changes to our device, and we're going to hit yes, we want it to make changes to our device. Now it brings us to this setup box here, and we're going to go through the setup process. So I'm going to go ahead and just start by saying I agree. And then it's going to ask us if we want to get a free web browser that has a bunch of anti-malware and other stuff. We're going to just hit decline for now because we are just looking for FileZilla. So we're going to hit decline and then we're going to hit this next box here. And then now it's going to ask us if we want to install FileZilla for anyone that uses the computer or for just the current user. Since it doesn't matter to me right now, I'm going to go ahead and click on only for me. And now I'm going to go ahead and hit on next again. And then it's going to ask us which components we want. we want to make sure that we have at least the first 4 icons checkmarked. And if you want to, you can checkmark the 5th to get a desktop icon for easier access of your application. Once you decide what you want, you can go ahead and hit this next button here, and it's going to show us our destination folder. More often than not, you can just go ahead and hit the next again. And then we're going to hit install, and now we're actually installing FileZilla. And then once our installation's finished, it's going to ask us if we want to reboot our computer now or reboot it later. Right now, we're just going to hit I want to manually reboot later. And then once we do that, we can go ahead and hit finish. And then now our application is installed. What we're going to do is we're first going to close out of both these tabs as we don't need them anymore to get back to our server console. And then now what we can do is actually go to where we installed FileZilla. As you can see, I got the desktop shortcut and it's right here. So I'm going to go and double click on this to run the application. Once we've opened up our FileZilla application, we're going to see a bunch of boxes. This big box on the left here is our computer files. And then this box over here on the right is going to be where our server files are whenever we connect to our server. And you're also going to see a bunch of boxes up top where we can input information. This is actually how we connect to our server. So in order to get all this information, we're going to need to head back to our TickHosting server. So I'm going to head back there right now, and we're going to see where we were left off at, and we're going to head over to this left server management tabs here, and we're going to search for the settings icon. So I'm going to look down, and I'm going to click on the settings icon. Now we're looking for the box that says SFTP connection details, which is this box right here. And as you can see in this box, there's 2 other smaller boxes right here. One that says server address and one that says username. What we're going to want to do is we're going to head over to the right of the server address box, and we're going to hit this blue copy button. Once we do that, we can head back to FileZilla, and we can actually paste that into our host box. I'm going to do that by pressing Ctrl V. And then now the next box we need to fill in is our username box. So I'm going to head back to where we just were, and I'm going to look, and I'm going to see that I have a username box here. So I'm going to head over to the right of this box, and I'm going to hit copy username. Now once again, I'm going to head back to FileZilla, and I'm going to paste that in. And now the password box is actually the password for your TickHosting account, which you may have got earlier. So I'm going to go in and input mine real quick. And now you're going to see one last box that says port. We actually don't need to fill this one in because our host has our port included. So FileZilla will see that and automatically fill it in for us. Once we have all 3 of those connected, we can actually hit this quick connect button here to connect to our server. And then it may ask you if you want to add a host cache key. You're going to just hit OK or accept. And then once you do that, you'll see that a bunch of files appear on the right, and these are all your server files. From here, it's just like having another file manager. You can click on folders to open them, and you can click on them to close them. If you actually want to bring files over, what you can do is actually click and hold on a file you want to bring over, and you can drag it to where you want it. So I'm going to put this Minecraft mod into my mods folder here. And I'm going to let go of my click, and it says on the bottom transferring, and as you can see it says all files have been successfully transferred. And that's how you use FileZilla. Thank you all for watching, and if you have any other questions, feel free to join the Discord where our support team can help you out. See you guys next time.